Hello everybody and welcome to the Your Natural Healer channel. I'm Tammy, if you don't already know who I am. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. And to all my returning subscribers and watchers, hello. Real quick with that, housekeeping, if you haven't smashed that subscribe button, I just ask that you please do so. Whoops, hold on one second. I dropped what I was going to talk about. But if you could please hit that subscribe button, you would be doing me a great favor. As that YouTube algorithm they talk about, it really is real. It's based off of subscribers and watch hours. So that's any YouTuber you watch, support them. Hit the subscribe button. You know what? You can turn off notifications. I understand you don't want your phone blowing up if you're subscribed to 100 different channels. I do the same thing. Turn them off. But again, supporting YouTubers, you know, it's more work than you really think. It's not just sitting in front of a camera going, blah, 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 blah. I mean, kind of it is, but then you have, editing and things of that nature. I'm sorry I'm playing with my hair. It looks terrible in the camera, but I really don't care. All right, so then I'm not going to mess with it. It is what it is. So in this week's Tuesday's Enlightenment, we're actually going to do a series, and it's going to be a 5-part, maybe 6, depending on how the 5th week goes. And I've been wanting to do this for about a year now. When I got my sound therapy certification, I had a phenomenal instructor. And one of the things that he taught before he taught us how to play singing bowls is we talked about sound. And there was a doctor in the 30s, 40s, maybe 20s, somewhere around there. And his name was like Jennings, something like that. Anyway, he had created this machine thing that had these metal plates on it, and then on top of the plates he would put sand. And if you've seen one of the old telephones that you crank, it was a long tube like that, but you talked into it. So they would talk into this tube, and the vibration of the voice would move the sand. Well, they found that when they spoke nice words or in a nice tone, or they played like Mozart music, things of that nature, when the plates shook from the vibration, that it made these beautiful geometric patterns, okay? They were like perfect. So he went a step further, tried it with negative words. They would play music like out of tone, things like that. And the sand was very distorted. Sometimes it didn't make patterns at all. So there was a Japanese scientist named Dr. Emoto. His first name I have to look, Masaru. I'm probably saying that wrong. So I'm just going to refer to him as Dr. Emoto. Dr. Emoto decided to do the same thing, but with water. And he went around and collected all these water samples from all over the world. Well, he would, break a sample down into several sub-samples, and then he would talk to them, or they would play music or what have you, and then they would freeze the water, and they would then take a microscopic picture of the crystals inside of the ice. Well, he had done one that was in Japan that had been exposed to when the bomb was dropped, and that water was like, the crystal was like ugly, and it was like black and gray. So through his experiments, he noticed that words that were nice, things like love and peace and things like that, made these absolutely beautiful, gorgeous snowflakes. Symmetrical, absolutely stunning. Same like with Mozart music, gospel music. And then they did it the opposite. They said mean words to it, things, hate, discuss, things of that nature, and the snowflakes were distorted. They were not symmetrical. They were ugly, just terrible. And one of the things that blew my mind with it is that I love heavy metal music, and I used to listen to it all the time. I listen to it very, very rarely now. Sorry, that's Parker over there. I listen to it very, very rarely now because of he had played heavy metal music to one of the water samples, and the picture of the water sample was absolutely disgusting. Sorry, as I said, Parker is over there, and I keep looking at her. Hello, Parker. So you might hear her come in. So anyway, it was fascinating, and we just like briefly discussed it. So I had to go out and buy Dr. Emoto's books, and one of the books is this one, The Hidden Messages in Water. And it's not very long, as you see. I mean, it's 150 pages, but I mean, it's really a small book. And there are a lot of pictures of the different snowflakes in there. And I don't know the copyright stuff on YouTube, so I'm not going to like show you anything because I don't want to get my channel banned. But it is a great read. It's an easy read. And I find myself, I'm on my 4th time reading this. Anytime that my words, my tone start to go negative, I pull out this book and I start reading it again. So what has this got to do with your natural healer and metaphysical? Well, this is called water alchemy. So there's an experiment that you can do, and I guess kids do it in school. My school never did it. And I've watched like parents and their children do it on YouTube, and I've seen some different results, and I was like, well, it's not like you're a YouTuber that I watch, that I follow, and I would trust. So, who knows? So I wanted to do the experiment myself. So that is what we're going to do over the course of the next 4 weeks. And I'll get to that, so pin it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 glass canning jars, and I fill them with equal amounts of cooked rice. Then you fill each jar with equal amounts of water, just enough water to cover the top of the rice. Then you put lids on it, and you write on one love, one hate, and one you don't write anything on. So then what you're supposed to do is every day for the next month, talk to the love jar, and you're supposed to say nice things to it in nice tones and all that stuff. I love you, you're wonderful, all that good stuff. And then the hate jar, you're supposed to say mean things to, like I hate you and you're disgusting, and I have done I'm going to try not to do any F-bombs because, again, I know people do it on YouTube, but I don't want to get my channel banned. So, when I talk to that jar, I have to say it in a mean tone and be really mean to the jar. And then the other jar, you're supposed to totally ignore. So what I'm going to do is each day is I'm going to record myself talking briefly to the 2 jars. And then at the end of the week, I'm going to put a montage together so we can see what I do for the week. And then we'll see kind of at the end of the week where all 3 jars are in comparison. And I've seen 2 different outcomes. Now, Dr. Emoto says the jar that you ignore is going to be the worst jar, like moldy and really disgusting. Then hate is going to be disgusting as too, but not as much. And the love jar is supposed to be not really that bad. A couple of the ones I've seen on YouTube had hate as the worst jar, then the ignored jar, and then in every case, love has always been the one that's not molded or whatever, fermented that badly. So, like I said, I really want to see if this works. But with his experiment, if you read this book, and guys, if you're not a reader, it is an easy read, and it is so fascinating, and as I said, lots of pictures. When you start reading this book, you're going to go, oh my gosh. And you're really going to start thinking about what you say and how you say it. And I want you to think about this for a moment. Our bodies, for the most part, I know as you get older it lessens, but for the most part, we're 70% water. So if water can pick up on the vibrations of words spoken, our tones and things of that nature, and you're constantly listening to, and I'm not trying to badmouth anybody's music, but if you're constantly listening to, say, heavy metal, which I saw on here, I would think really bad rap music, because there's a lot out there that talk about some bad stuff, that how it's going to affect the water in your body. As well as if you're always one of these negative Nellies that are always, when somebody asks you, how's your day? Oh, well, this is wrong, and work sucks, and my life sucks, and everything's terrible, and nothing's right. And you think about, we all know somebody like that, and you think about them, and then people are constantly miserable. They never, ever, ever have a positive thing to say. You never see them smile. So after reading this book, it makes me wonder, what have they done to the water in their body? So, and like I said, I've noticed a difference when I'm really monitoring what I say and how I say it. I notice that I'm happier and I feel better about myself and about everything. And then I notice when I don't practice it that, maybe I start losing my temper a little more. Maybe I start getting a little more impatient. Maybe I'm, getting frustrated a little more. I've done the speaking part, and this, for me, I believe it's true. But I want to see the rice. And if you think about it, I think the reason why he uses rice is, when rice is cooked, it absorbs water, and then we put it in water again. So it's continuing, to absorb water. So it's just going to be really interesting to see what this does. So as I said, this isn't a long one this week. I just wanted to kind of give you an intro of what we're going to look for. But again, I'll put this kind of closer. It's called The Hidden Messages in Water. And I know it's backwards, and I'm sure there's a way to do that on the phone to make it right, but I'm not that tech savvy yet. And this is his name, Dr. Masaru Emoto. And he has another book too. I can't read. I have the title up there. I haven't started that one yet. But this one, like I said, I'm on my fourth time in a year. It is just fantastic. And it is a great way to recharge your thinking, recharge your speaking, recharge how you say your words. So anyway, if you do read it, let me know. Put it down in the comments or shoot me an email at Tammy@yournaturalhealer.com. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the book. If you've tried it, if you've ever done the rice experiment, leave a comment below. I'd be really curious to know your take on it and what you experienced with it. But we're going to see. So, and one of the things I will say that I'm a little concerned about is because I'm going to keep the jars in this room. So I was like, man, this room, it's full of good vibes, lots of crystals. I play singing bowls constantly. I meditate. I play good music. And kind of the rule in my household is if you come in this room, you can't come in here with an attitude, or you can't come in here, with negative energy and things like that. So you stay out. I sage my whole household, but usually, I sage, I do Reiki in here on myself, clients, on crystals. So I was worried about that. And then I was like, well, they're all going to be exposed to that. So they're still all in the same controlled environment. So I said, well, maybe things might not progress as much. So that's why I was saying at the end of 4 weeks, I might take it another week out, just because I'm curious as to the effect that this room is going to have on it. Because like I said, if all those videos are true that I've seen on YouTube about it, at the end of 30 days, the 4th week, the rice is pretty gnarly. So we're going to see. So anyway, stay tuned. And that's all I have for you today. So I will see you next week when we talk more about, well, you'll hear me talking to jars of rice. All right. Namaste.